Hi everyone, I'm Logan Clements, freelance event producer, and this week I'm excited to bring you another installment of my favorite tips and tricks when it comes to event planning, running your own business, specifically in the world we are in right now, talking about virtual events and tips that you can use to apply to your next virtual event, one you're attending, one you're planning, no matter what it is. But we're continuing with our theme of talking about Zoom and Zoom functions that can help change the way that you see meetings, interact at meetings, go to virtual events, whatever it is. These are tangible Zoom tips that you can apply to your own Zoom experience and save you hopefully time and make you more efficient and maybe even enjoy Zoom a little bit more. This week we're going to talk about pinning. What is pinning and why do we even need to worry about it? Before we jump into it, I do want to remind you to like, subscribe, turn on that little notification button so you get notified every single Monday when I drop new videos. As always, comment below. Let me know what you want to hear more videos about. What are your questions about Zoom or virtual events? Learn more about what I do with virtual events. Learn more about my favorite tips and tricks. Read some of my blog posts. Head over to my website at loganstrategygroup.com. You can also sign up for my newsletter where I send out updates every single month about what I'm working on. But without further ado, let's jump back into it. The best place to start is probably to talk about the two different views that you can have in Zoom. So in Zoom, you have two options. You can either do speaker view or gallery view. So speaker view is where Zoom will naturally have you just in big screen. Most of your screen will be the person who's speaking. And if someone else starts speaking, it will jump to that person and you'll see everybody else's video teeny tiny up across the top. Now, if you're in gallery view, you will see everybody in equally sized boxes. If you're on a part of a massive Zoom call, you'll have to scroll probably because it only maximizes it right now at about 25 people per screen, so you'll have to scroll. But what pinning does is it actually allows you to dictate who you see in speaker view. Let me say that again. So pinning actually allows you to dictate who you see on your computer screen in speaker view. I think by this point I've said pinning 15 times. You can pin one person and that's the person that you will see in speaker view the biggest, no matter if they're talking or not. So why could this be helpful? Let's say, for example, you're in a meeting and there is one main speaker, but you constantly, if you're in speaker mode, it's constantly jumping to other people who are accidentally unmuted or coughing or rustling or something like that. Or you're in gallery mode and there tends to be one person speaking the whole time and it's really distracting for you to see everybody else in gallery mode and you can't really focus. What I would suggest for you is to pin that person who's your main speaker and you can keep them then biggest on your screen and they'll take the center of your attention. Now, here's the real question. How do you pin? So I'm going to pull up my Zoom for you. All right, so we're in Zoom, a little bit of Zoomception for you. You can see me here, you can see me there, you can also see me tiny down as I talk to you guys right now. But say, for example, I'm going to call and I want to pin people. So I'm the big horizontal me. I want to pin my video. And so what you can do is you can actually, on either person, you can see if I hover over them, they get 3 dots in their upper right-hand corner. Either person, I can do this. And then you click those 3 dots. Actually, I'll do it on this side so you can see it better. 3 dots, and it gives you some options. And one of them is pin, P-I-N, right here. So if I go to pin, what it does is it doesn't matter who's speaking. I could be speaking. It'll jump around. It doesn't matter. It's going to stay pinned on this person. So no matter who's speaking, your speaker view would always look like this. And you can always have the option. You can go to gallery view, but you can see down here in the bottom, do you see that little like push pin little icon? So that shows that it's pinned. It's pinned for me. Now, when I say pinned for me, the big thing here is when you pin something, it only affects your personal view. So just because if I'm in speaker view, I've pinned my mobile view, but what you can see is just for me, I have pinned this view as my speaker view. For other people on my other device, it is still jumping around to whoever is talking. It's not just pinned to one. So the big difference I want to emphasize here is there's the difference between pinning and spotlighting. So let's go back to gallery view. So you have the option for pinning. Pinning affects your personal screen. So you can do this for you. But if you are hosting an event and you want to make sure that you are overriding what everybody sees, that's spotlighting. We're going to talk about that in another video because that's a whole nother thing. But just to explain what pinning is, would just be if you want to pin their video, or maybe you're speaking. So you're a speaker at the event and you actually want to pin your own video so that you can see exactly what everybody else is seeing. So that could be another use for pinning. Personally, I don't necessarily use pinning a lot. I do speaker tech checks all the time, and I'll have 15 people on the call, and it constantly, speaker view is jumping around from person to person, and it's going everywhere. And if I spotlight them, that means I spotlight them for everyone to see. So what I will do is I'll pin them so I can see them, their video blown up a little bit bigger, and I'm able to, double check exactly what I thought I could see instead of trying to squint and look at their tiny little gallery thing. So I wouldn't use pinning that often, but I have found it's really helpful to know the difference between pinning and spotlighting. Pinning affects your own personal view. Spotlighting, if you are the host of the meeting or a co-host, you have the permissions to spotlight. And when you spotlight someone, you are controlling the speaker view for everybody at your entire event. But this is just about pinning. So hopefully you've learned something. You feel like you kind of understand a little bit more about what pinning is. I feel like I've said pinning 15 times in this video. But if you have any questions, drop them in the chat below. As always, I'm Logan Clements, freelance event producer, and this has been another installment of my favorite tips and tricks when it comes to event planning and running your own business. I'll talk to you guys next week, folks. Bye.